The Arizona Cardinals have interviewed Robert Saleh, and it was live tweeted last night, and everyone lost their freaking minds. So let's talk about that and much more in this edition of the Ben Garcia Show.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Woo. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need them. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like calluses. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up? Welcome into yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. However you may be listening, viewing, watching, consuming the Ben Garcia Show, appreciate you doing so, making us a part of your day on this Friday edition. Remember, we are here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. discussing all things Arizona sports. But as you guys know, follow me on all social media platforms. But again, follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And again, as you guys know, we are here Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 a.m. So you can check us out there on YouTube, or of course, we're streaming on Twitter as well. So the Arizona Cardinals sports world in Arizona lost their absolute ever-loving minds last night in a interview that was live tweeted. I have never seen an interview outside of Sean Payton or when Peyton Manning came and visited the Arizona Cardinals and everyone thought that maybe he was going to pick the ugly girl this time, being the Arizona Cardinals, and not the, super attractive girl like he ended up going to with the Denver Broncos. And Cardinals fans lost their mind. It was like something I had never seen before. Cardinals fans foaming at the mouth because they finally had some semblance of a candidate that didn't want to make them absolutely, freak out. Because over the past couple weeks, a lot of it has been, well, Vance Joseph's going to get the job. Well, whoever this is going to get the job. Well, so Anthony Weaver might get the job. And for a lot of Cardinals fans, it was pretty scarring. And so last night, when you see Josina Anderson live tweeting out Robert Saleh in his interview with the Arizona Cardinals, it made everyone lose their minds. And I got to be honest with you. If I was someone who was hiring the next Cardinals head coach, I've told you multiple times, I'm going to go the offensive route. And the reasoning why I want to go the offensive route is because at the end of the day, I am trying to win a Super Bowl. Now, with that being true, I'm also just trying to be a stable organization. I'm also just trying to get this organization back on the straight and narrow. So a Super Bowl feels so far away that I understand that a lot of Cardinals fans want Robert Saleh because they feel like he can at least get the ship back on course. But before I talk about Robert Saleh, the reasoning why I myself want an offensive guy is they don't have the quarterback right. And Robert Saleh has had his chance to try to figure out the quarterback in New York. It didn't work. It actually miserably failed. And I also can't, turn my nose at the fact that he did get fired from New York. Now, a lot of people say, well, you get fired from New York. A lot of people do that. Okay, that's fine. But I still have to hold it against you at least a little bit. But with that being said, Robert Saleh would be an absolute awesome head coaching hire for the Arizona Cardinals. And I think a lot of our opinions have been skewed a little bit because of the list that has came out for the Arizona Cardinals. And each and every day you're like, well, who the hell is this guy? Well, who's that guy? It's a lot of Matt Nagy's and Anthony Weaver's and Vance Joseph's of the world and Thomas Brown's from the New England Patriots passing game coordinator. So when you see someone like Robert Saleh at least take an interview with the Arizona Cardinals, it's pretty intriguing. And especially with the way that it came about yesterday. Originally at the start of the day, a bunch of us thought, well, he's going to go meet with the Dolphins, he's going to go meet with another team, and hopefully the Arizona Cardinals get some semblance of an interview at some point with Robert Saleh. I think some Cardinals fans were frustrated because they didn't think they were going to get an interview with him at all. And after D'Amico Ryans stiffed them the last time they put in an interview with Robert Saleh, at the end of the day, a lot of people thought that maybe there was a chance he wouldn't even meet with them. Maybe 49ers coaches just understand the Cardinals have a bad rep and don't want to come interview with them. But at least the Arizona Cardinals are bringing in those candidates. But that's not good enough. And the reasoning why Robert Saleh would be a great head coaching candidate for the Arizona Cardinals, even though he's not my number one guy, my number one choice is Matt LaFleur. My number one choice is Mike LaFleur or Clint Kubiak. Clint Kubiak 1, Mike LaFleur 2. I have my eyes set on an offensive guy. The Cardinals don't have their quarterback situation right, and if there's ever something that is going to make the Cardinals consistent playoff contenders, it is an offensive head coach and the quarterback that he gets paired with for years to come. And so I won't change my mind off of that. But what I will say is Robert Saleh is a leader, and he solves the gaping leadership problem the Cardinals have had over the last couple of seasons. The massive leadership problems that they have had. My guy, Jameel Douglas, who does the Cardinals Squad Show with me over at Locked On Cardinals Squad Show, over with the Locked On Podcast Network, brought up a good point when we were talking about Robert Saleh and why he's his number one candidate. He wants to see the way players react to you on the sidelines. He wants to see the way he interacts with the players. And one of the things that Robert Saleh does really well is he is always fired up with his guys. And it seems like he couldn't be more ecstatic to be around the players and the players to be around him. So that is something. There is something to players are willing to go to bat for you. And his ability to get more out of less defensively is truly something that you say to yourself, okay, that's something I can get behind. The 49ers have lost damn near everyone on their defense. And I'm not going to sit here and act like their defense is elite, but it ain't the reason why they're losing games, and it should be. So, I get it. The other thing is, the last defensive head coach to win a Super Bowl was Bill Belichick in 2019. And he had, that's right, Tom Brady. And before that, it was Gary Kubiak in Super Bowl 50, who had Gary Kubiak was an offensive guy. But before that, it was Gary Kubiak in 2015. And I couldn't even tell you before that who the next defensive head coach would have been after Bill Belichick. So it's been at least a decade outside of Bill Belichick where a defensive head coach won the Super Bowl. It's because it's an offensive league where all the rules skew offensive, where the NFL has made everything easier for the offenses. So I get it. It should be an offensive guy because they don't have the quarterback. And they need someone who can select their guy and grow with them. It's one of the things that makes the Raiders' job so attractive. Could they get an offensive guy in there, pair him with Fernando Mendoza, and those two grow together? That matters. I truly think it does. And if it's between him, however, what I will say is he's a leader, and there is a proof of concept that as a head coach, even with the New York Jets, his defenses were really good. And if it's between him and Vance Joseph, it's a no-brainer, and I think he's learned from his time of a head coach of doing things correctly. And he can apply that to the Arizona Cardinals. However, let's talk about it through this lens. Here's what would make Robert Saleh an absolute home run hire. Even though Robert Saleh is not my number one guy, I continue to say I want to go offensive. Kubiak, Mike LaFleur, whatever that looks like. What would propel Robert Saleh to the absolute number one home run hire? What would get all Cardinals fans jacked up? What would revitalize this organization is Robert Saleh as the head coach. He pairs Mike McDaniel with him. And then in the offseason, they swing a trade and bring in Mac Jones. Now, even that combination of that threesome is not going to win the Cardinals a Super Bowl. It's not going to make them perennial playoff contenders. But that trio of Mike McDaniel, Robert Saleh, and Mac Jones does make them competent. It does make them a competent team. It makes them a team that you could actually say to yourself, is there a chance they could be a sneaky playoff team next year? Remember, getting to the playoffs is always weird. Every year, there's teams that go worst to first. If I would have told you at the beginning of the season, the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks are going to be the number one seeds in their respective conferences, you would have thought that that was crazy. But if you can get Robert Saleh here as your head coach, Mike McDaniel here as your offensive coordinator, and Mac Jones as your quarterback, that is three birds, one stone. Robert Saleh, the absolute leader. Robert Saleh, the solver of the Arizona Cardinals' leadership problems. Plus a maestro defensively, where that proof of concept as a head coach, you can look at the Jets and say, he was a head coach there, and their defenses were really good. You bring in Mike McDaniel, who obviously has that real connection to Robert Saleh, who runs a similar version to the Kyle Shanahan scheme and has shown to elevate players in that scheme. And then you pair him with Mac Jones, who could be your stopgap or bridge quarterback for a year or two while you figure out the quarterback situation. And you know he has worked in a similar system that Kyle Shanahan ran that now Mike McDaniel will also kind of run. There's your proof of concept. If the Cardinals can make that trio happen, that would be the absolute number one home run, perfect Cardinals coaching hiring. It would make a lot of sense. And you see that and you're like, oh, that doesn't feel impossible. Robert Saleh is the head coach. Mike McDaniel is the OC. Mac Jones is your quarterback. Who wants tickets to the Arizona Cardinals now? Now, I got a question here from my guy Jay, which I'll get to in just a second. But this is a question this is something a lot of people say. Brian said in the chat, 49ers ain't trading Mac Jones. If you dangled a third-round pick in their face for a backup quarterback, yes, I think they would. Also, Kyle Shanahan is one of the most prideful people in the NFL. That dude knows his system is the you-know-what. That guy believes players can't succeed without him. Look at Jimmy Garoppolo. And let's be honest, the real general manager of the 49ers is Kyle Shanahan, just cosplayed as John Lynch. They would absolutely trade Mac Jones. Brock Purdy, no. Mac Jones, yes. I think Kyle Shanahan would relish the fact of moving on from and getting a third-round pick for him. He also only makes $8 million a year. I'm sorry. He makes less than that. He signed a contract for 2 years, $8 million. So he would make nothing as well. Ben, do you think the Cardinals are being blacklisted because they led JG to believe he's staying and fired him last minute? No, not at all. Absolutely not at all. I just think Michael Bidwill sucks. I think that's the beating around the bush that a lot of people do that I don't do. Michael Bidwill is a perpetual terrible owner. He is an incompetent owner. He runs one of the most disastrous teams in not just the NFL, but in all of sports. The biggest thing coaches look for is ownership. I've been told that from numerous people who are much higher in this industry than I am, that I'm not going to name drop because no one cares about that. Coaches care about ownership. If the Cardinals get a clear commitment to ownership, both through a handshake deal and through the money that he's going to have to fork over to get someone like Robert Saleh, why wouldn't someone want to be here? It's the woe is me, ridiculous Arizona sports fan narrative. It's ridiculous. Why does no one want to be here? Well, I mean, I don't know. Or no one wants to come to Arizona. Oh, really? They don't want to come coach the best tight end in football? Like, the Cardinals have pieces. Marvin Harrison Jr., even if he hasn't warranted the 4th overall pick, he's still at minimum a wide receiver 2 in the NFL. Did you watch Michael Wilson the last 8 weeks of the season when he got a chance? Trey McBride's the best tight end in football. If they draft a running back in the 3rd or 2nd round, they'll fix that as well. If they draft a tackle in the 1st round, their offensive line, I think, can get solidified much faster than a lot of you guys think. And then their defense features Walter Nolan, Will Johnson, Budda Baker, Josh Sweat. Like, stop acting like the Cardinals are devoid of talent. Oh, also, it's Arizona during a winter sport. Something tells me coaches are going to find that attractive. You ever been to Paradise Valley? You ever been to Scottsdale? Yeah, it's kind of nice over here. The only reason why people don't want to come here is Michael Bidwill. It's also a low-risk situation. If you win the division as the Arizona Cardinals head coach, we build statues for you. Do I believe that should be the case? No. But we build statues for you. Bruce Arians is the winningest head coach in NFL in Cardinals history. I think he's got like 60 wins or something like that. And we all think he's like, what's his name? Don Shula. And we all think he's Bill Belichick here. The Cardinals have good personnel. It's a great place to live in, especially Arizona during the winter. And it's low pressure. If you win 7 games next year, everyone is going to say, whoo, successful season. If you win 5 games, people aren't even going to get. If you tank next year, no one's going to get upset because of the quarterback situation coming out of the draft next year. So, listen, I love my guy Brian. He is a good dude, but I totally disagree with no one wants to be here. Just totally, perpetually disagree. So with that being said, that is the best possible outcome for the Cardinals. And make no mistake about it, people want to be here. People want to be here. They just don't want to be next to the owner, which I can't blame them. Not at all, not one iota. But the Cardinals have everything else around them going pretty well. And it's why when people say they're the worst, they're the least desirable organization. Listen, I don't know Benjamin Albright at all. Personally, I think some of his Cardinals reporting has been a little spotty. But to be fair, most people's is. The thing that scares me the most is that John Gambadoro, the most plugged-in Arizona media guy who, some people sometimes take issue with, but his guess was that Vance Joseph gets the job. And I don't think there's anyone more plugged in with Gambo or than Gambo. And so when I see Robert Saleh pop up, I'm like, I just hope they wowed him in the interview process. Because Robert Saleh from Vance Joseph would be the Grand Canyon size difference here in Arizona. Even if I'm not a massive Robert Saleh guy, even if I do think there are clear issues with Robert Saleh, Yeah, he might be a defensive maestro. Some guys might just be better coordinators than head coaches. But I can't deny the one desirable quality that Robert Saleh will fix. And it is the clear incompetency in leadership for the Arizona Cardinals. Clear incompetency in leadership. He would fix that. And I think the Cardinals should start there. So yeah. Also, I think my guy Brian in the chat said, I didn't say no one wants to be here. I don't think it was you, actually. I think I screwed that up. So my bad. It was someone else. But regardless, the point still stands. And so yeah. If Robert Saleh can bring in his trio of guys and his pitches, Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel, Mac Jones, I think you feel really good about that trio. And it solves a couple of different things for the Cardinals. You can make that happen. I think it makes sense. And for anyone that says the 49ers won't trade Mac Jones, okay, let's see what this third-round pick has to say. And Kyle Shanahan is one of the most prideful MFers that we've ever seen. Like, that dude will unequivocally give up a player and show how bad they are without him in his system. So that's interesting as well. What I will say is it is something that Robert Saleh skirted the... There's a saying in sports media that I think is a really good saying. Nothing is everything. Everything is something. And I do think it is something that there was reports yesterday that he was going to meet with the Dolphins, and I think it was the Ravens or whatever. And that kind of got skirted last minute, and he came to Arizona instead. It does say something. What happened? Did Michael Bidwill get on the phone? Did Monti Ossenfort get on the phone? Here's the other thing. Oh my God, how did I almost skirt over this? Here's another thing. Let's go back to yesterday really quickly. Let's go back to before we knew Robert Saleh was the guy. And my guy in the chat, Brian, who just sent a super chat, I want to answer this. I think they'd rather give Mac Jones to the Vikings. Sure. But if the Vikings offered a 4th-round pick and the Cardinals offered a 3rd-round pick, they would give it to the highest bidder. That's just my belief, though. Although I do get that. And thank you for your super chat, brother. Appreciate you always supporting the show, Brian. Here's my other thing. How did I almost miss this? If Vance Joseph is going to get the job, and just so we're clear, it sounds like as of yesterday, he was the leading candidate, and it feels like the Cardinals keep prepping you to hire Vance Joseph. Whether it's Benjamin Albright, who I think has some spotty Cardinals reporting, but still, he put that out there, and he's obviously got some sourcing. Whether it's John Gambadoro, who took an educated guess and said that Vance Joseph that would be his guess to be the Cardinals head coach. And then Connor Orr on Sports Illustrated also said he thought Vance Joseph is the leading dog for the Arizona Cardinals and that he predicted that he would go there. That's 3 reputable reporters, some with more sourcing than others, and that scared me. But it says a lot about Monti Ossenfort, does it not? Does it not? One of the problems with keeping Monti Ossenfort around as your general manager is potential head coaching candidates come in and say, I don't want to work with that guy. Once you kept Monti Ossenfort around, it pretty much showed your hand that you weren't getting John Harbaugh. If Mike Tomlin became available, you weren't getting Mike Tomlin. Or you weren't getting Kevin Stefanski. You weren't getting those top 3, top 4 level of coaching candidates. And the reasoning for that is they don't get to pick their guy. They don't get to pick their guy. And if the Cardinals hire Vance Joseph, what does that say about Monti Ossenfort? What does it say about him? And don't give me well, it's on Michael Bidwill. It's not on Monti Ossenfort. He's the general manager, right? Which means he signed off on this. So it's one of two things. Either A, this isn't Monti Ossenfort's guy, and if that's the case, he should resign. Why would you go down with that ship? It is so clear if Vance Joseph is the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, it will crash and burn. It will crash and burn dramatically, and it will crash and burn quickly. And because of the optics of it all, they won't fire him after 1 year. The Cardinals, I think, could lose every game next year, and they can't fire Vance Joseph because of some of the lawsuits that are happening that have Michael Bidwill's name on it. They won't fire him. And what does it say about Monti Ossenfort that no other big-time coaching candidates are like, oh, I want to work with that guy. I want to work with him. So the first thing is, if Vance Joseph is not his guy, why don't you just resign? Why would you want to go down with this? This is a terrible idea. And Monti Ossenfort, I think, is too smart of a guy to understand that that's not going to work. Now, someone said to me, I think it's Mr. AZ Sports. Good dude. Nice guy. But he had said to me, like, this is not a Monti Ossenfort problem. This is a Bidwill problem. Like, Monti Ossenfort's the GM. He has hitched his wagon to Michael Bidwill. He could resign at any time. He could resign. But he has hitched his wagon to Michael Bidwill. It is also on him. 100% it is also on him. You could argue it's more Michael Bidwill, but it's also on Monti Ossenfort. Why would you hitch your wagon to Michael Bidwill knowing he's going to hire Vance Joseph? Which we know would be awful, just absolutely terrible hiring. I mean, think about it. When Vance Joseph was the DC of the Cardinals, he was a bad defensive coordinator. And the other thing is, like, if Monti Ossenfort really wanted Vance Joseph, why didn't he just hire him immediately after Cliff left? They interviewed him. They had him in the building. They couldn't even keep him around as his defensive coordinator. He was under contract. They didn't have to let him go. It makes no sense. But because, and just so we're clear, Vance Joseph had guys like Zach Allen. He had J.J. Watt. He had the chance to develop Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins, and it didn't work. He had Patrick Peterson towards the end, but still Patrick Peterson, Budda Baker. And the defenses were not good. They weren't good. And now you're telling me he's going to come in and revolutionize this Cardinals team and find the quarterback? Yeah, everyone knows that's not going to work. How does Michael Bidwill and Monti Ossenfort know that's not going to work? Which makes me really question Monti Ossenfort as a general manager. Not just in the decision-making. Marvin Harrison Jr., which wasn't a great pick. Passing up on Will Anderson Jr. Darius Robinson, terrible pick. And then TBD on Walter Nolan. TBD. So it makes me seriously question. Monti Ossenfort's decision-making. And if Vance Joseph gets the job, I'm out on Monti. I'm so out on Monti. You can't hitch your wagon to that. You can't. I would resign. So, Mr. AZ Sports fan is like, well, you only get one GM job. No, you only get one GM job if you try to convince everyone in the NFL sports world, no, I'm smarter than you. No, me, I get it more than you do. I get it. And I'm going to put Vance Joseph as our head coach. And no one has done that since 2018, but you think you're smarter than everyone else. So that would be nuts. Crazy. Here's the other thing. And then we'll close out the show. Dante Moore is going back to school. I actually don't think this is a bad thing. I don't think this is a bad thing. Dante Moore has some traits you like. He made a couple of nice passes, and I think it was the Orange Bowl against Texas Tech, but for a large part in the playoffs has not looked great. In fact, at times bad. I was worried the Arizona Cardinals were going to talk themselves into Dante Moore. because everyone is desperate to solve their quarterback issues. And when I saw the notification that Adam Schefter put out that, hey, he's gonna decide on ESPN that if he's gonna come back to school, I immediately put out a tweet that said, gut feeling, I think he stays at Oregon. And one of the reasons why I thought that is after LeBron James's the decision where he went on national television to give Cleveland the bird and go over to Miami. I think people learned, that doesn't go over well, which they probably should have known already. But Dante Moore headed back to Oregon. And it's probably a good thing the Arizona Cardinals aren't going to try to talk themselves into him, either trading up to number 2 or outright picking him at 3. But it does mean a couple of things. One is the Cardinals probably aren't trading back anymore. They're probably not trading back anymore. That seems like it's probably not going to happen because there's no quarterbacks at the top of this draft. And yeah, my guy in the chat saying take Carson Beck in the 2nd or 3rd round, maybe more like the 4th round, 5th round, which by the way, sidebar, I was the only one last year. Only one who, when Carson Beck was coming out of school originally from Georgia and then ended up going back to Miami, before that I said, this was the number 1 quarterback in his class when he was coming out of high school. Take a flyer on this guy in the 5th, 6th round. And everyone told me I was stupid. And now he just might win a national championship and people are, whatever. But that's people. Again, everyone's too scared to take a swing in this market. Not me. Dante Moore going back to school continues. Dante Moore going back to school, plus a combination of a couple of other things, makes the path for Kyler Murray coming back next year as the Arizona Cardinals starting quarterback just a little bit more wider. Day by day, Kyler Murray's path to being the Arizona Cardinals quarterback next year gets a little bit wider. Now, I'm not saying it's a massive chance, but at the end of the season, it was a 0% chance. And then Jonathan Gannon got fired. And it was like, well, what does the next head coach want? Because I want what he wants. If he thinks he can fix Kyler, then he should get the chance to do that. And it's like, okay, well, then that makes it a 25% chance. And then you look around in free agency and you're like, well, Daniel Jones isn't going to go anywhere. Well, could I bring in Jameis Winston? I don't know. And that makes it go up even a little bit higher. And the last thing was the draft. Well, could they select someone? And Ty Simpson, who has been terrible and is an absolutely terrible quarterback, at least for an NFL style, I would not touch Ty Simpson in the 2nd round. 3rd round, why not? Wouldn't in the 1st, wouldn't in the 2nd round. With no Dante Moore, with no quarterback to really select, could Kyler Murray come back? It becomes more and more plausible by the day. It doesn't mean it will happen. It doesn't mean it should happen. I would probably prefer it didn't. My guy in the chat, shut up already about Kyler. He's gone. You're the only one that's thinking this. You could always just turn off the stream if you didn't want to hear my opinion. Appreciate you being here, but you could always just turn off the stream if you don't want to be here. It's not impossible. And even though someone like myself, who is not for Kyler Murray coming back, I can't act like it isn't plausible. And it doesn't make a little bit, or it does make a little bit of sense. And the biggest part is, or I can't act like it doesn't make a lot of sense. And the biggest part is, you can do worse than Kyler Murray. If Robert Saleh comes in here after dealing with the Jets quarterback controversy, I don't think he's swift to just grab Kyler Murray by his back pants and throw him out Jazz, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air style. I don't think he's quick to do that. So I don't think it's impossible. Now, if Robert Saleh came in here and Dante Moore was coming back, they might talk themselves into Dante Moore. They might talk themselves into Daniel Jones if he was getting let go from the Colts and he's not. I don't think he, hitches his wagon to Aaron Rodgers. But you can do a lot worse than Kyler. You can do a lot worse than Kyler Murray, even if I don't want him back. So it's not impossible. And for those of you, guys, everyone in this chat knows I've been done with Kyler for a while. But it's also, let's be adults, okay? Let's be adults. Kyler is, at minimum, a top 20 quarterback in the NFL. Which means there's a lot of other quarterbacks who are terrible. So, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. And for my guy Javi in the chat, who always loves to give us all a hard time, and that's good. I like people who think differently and have different opinions. He said, I'd rather lose next year than have Kyler at quarterback. Sure, that's what you want. And that might be what I want too. Who cares what we want though? Robert Saleh or Mike LaFleur or Clint Kubiak or you name the head coach isn't just going to lose games. That's not what they do, especially if it's a coach that's already been fired before. They're going to do everything they can to win games. And if Kyler gives them that best chance, they're going to do it. I'm not advocating for Kyler Murray to come back, guys. I'm not advocating for that. I'm just telling you what it looks like. And the angrier people get in the chat, the more it leads me to believe, oh, I'm on the right track. Because if you thought I was crazy, you'd just say, this guy's stupid, and people would leave. But I can see the numbers in the chat right now. There's 40 of you guys in here. You guys aren't leaving, which means I'm making somewhat of a good point. Again, I might not want it. You might not want it. But the head coach might feel that there's worse you can do at quarterback. They might feel like you can't get the person in the draft and free agency. What, Aaron Rodgers? You guys didn't like that the other day when I put that out on social media. By the way, side note, you guys were acting like I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to take this team to the Super Bowl. I thought he was going to be just competent. That's it. This is a competent quarterback. Not making the playoffs, not make the Super Bowl, but give the next head coach something to work with. But again, yeah. With that being said, I think the path to Kyler Murray being the starting quarterback becomes more wider and more plausible by the day. And part of it has to do with, not getting anyone in the draft anymore. And please, for the love of God, don't say Ty Simpson. All right, guys. You guys, I love this. I love this argument. I love this. True dialect. I don't mean to be picking on you. You're probably a great dude. And it's just sports at the end of the day, so I don't get upset with people. But I didn't read this, but I already know what you're talking about. He's saying he definitely has a say. You don't want a quarterback that doesn't want to be here. Bad vibes all season. Let me look square into the camera for this one. And this is the thing. Again, this is one of those things that I'll do that some of other people won't do for God knows what reason. I don't have any relationships to protect. Let me look square in the camera for this one. Let me hold the microphone for this one. I don't care what Kyler Murray wants. I don't care what Kyler Murray wants. Kyler Murray has not earned the right to go anywhere. He is paid handsomely. If he doesn't want to play, great. Let's void your guarantees. You want to sit out? You want to pout because you don't want to be here? Okay, let's void your guarantees. That's fine with me. I'll save a lot of money. You have not earned the right for anyone to care about you to have a trade demand. You've got 0 playoff wins. You've got 1 winning season. Congratulations. Whoop-de-doo. Also, Colt McCoy won a couple of those games in that winning season. I don't care what Kyler Murray wants. The Cardinals are paying him $46.1 average annual value a year. $46.1 million average annual value each year. I don't care. I could not care less what Kyler Murray wants. If the Cardinals want him back, if the head coach wants him back, That is exactly what they're going to do. He has a say. He could tweet it out. He can make a big mess about it. I don't care. And the Cardinals don't care. If they want him here, he's going to be here. I don't care. I don't care if anyone thinks he's got to stay. I don't care. I don't care. And just so we're clear, like, I don't really want Kyler Murray back. 7 years, been there, done that. Nobody wants Kyler back. He doesn't want to be back. You're the only one pushing this narrative. Okay. I just don't know how you want me to respond to that. I don't really want Kyler Murray back either. I'm just telling you that it becomes more and more plausible. I'm not rooting for it. I understand that Kyler Murray's probably not a winning Super Bowl quarterback in the NFL, but it is plausible for all the reasons that I just laid out. And I think some of you forget just how hard it is out there to find the next quarterback. With that being said, for all my lovely folks in the chat, reminder, I am here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. streaming live on YouTube and, of course, Twitter as well, talking all things Arizona sports. If you guys can come in here, obviously 8 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But also, if there's breaking news, the Cardinals hire someone on Saturday, I'll go live. They hire someone on Sunday, I'll go live. So yeah. My guy in the chat, you don't have to. 1 second. I'm sorry, Cards fan. I'm sorry. True dialect. Explain how it's become more plausible. If you were too busy putting things in the chat every 5 seconds, you would have heard my last 12-minute spiel, man. I just did it for 12 minutes. Appreciate you being here, True Dialect. I really do. Thank you. You don't have to explain yourself. The people who understand football get you. I don't like to say that either, but I appreciate it. I don't want to discount anyone's ability to watch football. Like, it's sports at the end of the day. I don't want to be rude to people. I will get smart with people if I have to, but like, I'm not. But I don't want anyone to think that their opinion's dumber than mine just because I have a microphone. I'm just like you guys. I'm just a little bit more outspoken and a little bit more crazier. And that's why some people don't love me. That's okay. With that being said, for all of you in the chat, there are so many of you in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. talking all things Arizona sports. If the Cardinals had a head coach over the weekend, if something major happens with the Phoenix Suns, maybe even Arizona Diamondbacks. Hey, Nolan Arenado, he's a Diamondback. That didn't make the show because no one cares right now. And the Dodgers just signed yet another person. But do me a favor. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Go over there. Tell me why you love me. Tell me why you hate me. And we'll talk over there. With that being said, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And I will see you guys on Monday at, do me a favor. Hit the like button on this. Hit the like button on this show. Everyone in here, hit the like button and then go tell me why I'm an idiot on social media. It helps me out tremendously. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you guys on Monday at 8 a.m. Thank you so much for being here. It's been the Ben Garcia Show. Talk to you guys Monday at 8 a.m.